Live from the Kingdom on a Saturday night, it's baseball, American League style, with the Oakland A's and the Seattle Mariners. Hi, everybody. I'm Monty Moore along with Ray Fosse, and we're set for game number 2 of this 3-game weekend series. Glad you're joining us tonight. Ray, as we stand here in this Kingdom, you and I were just talking a few minutes ago, this is a home run hitting place, isn't it?
It's given up a lot of home runs. Actually, counting last night's 112 on the season here in the Kingdom, as opposed to 64, only 64 in the Oakland Coliseum. And that's one of the things the Oakland A's, Mark McGwire, Jose Canseco have been talking about. Hitting the ball at the Coliseum is just not going out. So you come to a ballpark like the Kingdom, all of a sudden a few home runs are hit. So 2 more games to be played here for the Oakland A's to get their home runs back going tonight. Tomorrow afternoon, could see a few more here.
Last night we had to sign off in a hurry because of the particular time the game ended, but we saw Dennis Eckersley do something he hasn't done very much of this year. He came into a game, didn't seem to have his best stuff.
Well, he didn't, and what happens there, usually a pitcher like Dennis Eckersley can get his stuff back, but unfortunately a short reliever comes in, he doesn't have that many pitches to throw, so you have to take what you can get. He tried to get a pitch into Steve Balboni, he didn't get it where he wanted it, and all of a sudden it's a 3-run home run. But as Tony La Russa said today, I hope we have the opportunity tonight to get Dennis Eckersley back in the ballgame and face Steve Balboni, and he'll be in there right
You were
again.
talking about yourself last night, Ray. You said, you were kind of thinking that maybe he might pitch around Davis in hopes that he could get to Balboni.
Well, Tony was second-guessing. He was already on the bench thinking about that, and that's one thing, as we talked last night. You don't put the potential go-ahead run on the base in 9th inning on. He was thinking about doing it, but it didn't come to pass.
Well, speaking of home runs, the guy who leads the major leagues in home runs is going to be Ray Fosse's guest when we come back after this timeout.
Here at the Kingdom, Jose, you had a tough series against the California Angels down in Anaheim yesterday afternoon out at the ballpark at 3 o'clock here in the Kingdom. What were you working on yesterday in particular?
I was just trying to get back to basics. I do a drill with Jimmy Lefevre, just trying to make hard contact, basically to get your body out of the way and just hit the ball hard.
One thing I noticed also, you had spread out more at the plate, especially when you hit the base hit and the home run. How much were you thinking about doing that?
I was thinking about doing that a lot. Basically, I went into the game and thinking, in the state of mind that I was just going to hit the ball hard, just trying to make contact. Really not trying to overpower the pitcher. I thought, with the velocity that Langston had, he was going to supply all the power for me, and basically he did.
A lot of talk about home runs not traveling out of the Oakland Coliseum. Last night, you hit a ball to center field here. What were you thinking going around the bases as far as the way the ball travels here?
Well, basically here it's 410 feet to center, and I've hit balls that well in Oakland, and Oakland's 400 feet to center and have not gone out. So, I thought it might have a chance here, and it really did go out.
Big home run last night. Keep up the good work. Jose Canseco's been with me. Back up to you, Monty.
Okay, Ray and Jose, and there's the batting order now that Tony La Russa struggled with for a while today before he finally came up with it, and we'll tell you what the struggle was all about in a moment. Louis Polonia will lead off and play in left field. Dave Henderson batting second will be in center. Jose Canseco in the number 3 spot in right. Mark McGwire at first base batting 4th, and Ron Hasse the DH tonight. Terry Steinbach will catch and bat 7th. Batting 8th is the 3rd baseman, Tony Phillips. Carney Lansford came up tonight and said he just didn't want to play on this hard surface anymore, and so he's out of there. Glenn Hubbard is at second base, and Mike Gallego is at shortstop with the injury to the regular shortstop, Walt Weiss. Mike Moore is the pitcher tonight for Seattle, and there's his defense.
Well, that was a fast run up here. I was quick getting back up here, but I'll see if I can catch my breath and do it.
Nice going, Ray. You can do it.
In the outfield, Darnell Coles will be in left field. Henry Cotto replaces Mickey Brantley in center field tonight. Jay Buhner is in right field. On the infield, Jim Presley at third. Ray Quinones, the shortstop. Harold Reynolds at second base. Alvin Davis is the first baseman. Scott Bradley is behind the plate and on the mound with the record of 4-11, right-hander Mike Moore. And I tell you, you talk about a hard luck pitcher. This guy last year losing 19 ball games. You can see his record 4-11. 4.88 ERA, making his 25th appearance. He was in the bullpen for 5 appearances, and something that Jim Snyder did when he came in as the manager, he put him back in the rotation. He's a young man who can throw very hard, and one of the criticisms that he's had is that he does not pitch inside that much. He had not hit a batter in over 250 innings pitch. He finally hit one in April, Jay Bell of the Cleveland Indians. So he's just a tough pitcher, a hard-throwing pitcher, and one that the A's hope to be able to get to tonight.
What do they do? Give him a merit badge or something when he finally hits somebody?
Well, that's what Dick Williams had said, that it's tough if you don't pitch inside, and it's a good indication when you have not hit a batter. And, of course, you talk to anybody, they say that you have to pitch inside, at least show that you can get the ball in there, so it makes that pitch outside much more effective.
Here's Louis Polonia, who spent the better part of this year just a few miles up the coast at Tacoma, playing for the A's Top Farm Club. He did so well that they called him up, and he's been here since, hitting over 300 since he got here. Mike Moore starts him off with a breaking ball. It's low, and it's 1 ball and no strikes. Polonia fouls that one back into the stand. Mike Moore is from Eakley, Oklahoma. Now, not a lot of you out there might know where Eakley is. I happen to know where that is. It's just a little ways from Binger. And a few people may not know where Binger is, but that's where Johnny Bench came from. Polonia fouls off another one. What it amounts to, it's about 70 miles from Oklahoma City, but this guy was the #1 draft choice of all the players in the United States eligible. He was the first man chosen by the Seattle Mariners in '81. Polonia blips one to left, and he's on there with a base hit.
Like they tried to throw him a breaking ball, broke Louis Polonia's bat on the 2-strike pitch, but see the breaking ball just kind of hangs up a little bit. Louis hit the ball off the end of his bat, hitting the ball in left field, but good way to get the ball game started for the A's.
Gives him a good base runner, and here is a good hitter, Dave Henderson. Look at those stats: 295, 13 homers, 53 runs batted in. He has played sensational ball in the outfield. Also made a great catch in the 10th inning here last night. Moore turns and throws over to first base. Moore was clocked at throwing the ball faster than anybody ever threw it in Cleveland once they got the gun there. He threw 96 miles an hour. They clocked him on the Cleveland speed gun one day. There's a strike. With Moore and Langston back to back, you're going to get some heaters coming up there to you 2 nights in a row.
Well, Mark McGuire was saying tonight that he saw the fastball from Mark Langston last night. It's the hardest he's ever seen thrown by a left-handed pitcher. So he was definitely getting up. Bob Welch was throwing the ball very hard too, but compared to what Langston was doing, just looked like a little bit faster.
Well, that's an amazing statement, isn't it, Ray? That's it's interesting that Mark would say it's the hardest any left-hander ever threw.
Well, he said on a 3-2 pitch it was thrown by him. He went out to get it. And he said all of a sudden it's in the catcher's mitt.
Henderson faking a bunt. Takes outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Oakland Athletics in first place 101 consecutive days. Start play tonight knowing they have to win to maintain their 5.5 game lead over Minnesota because the Twins won today. Little Louis is back in. The A's have had opportunities the last 2 games to pick up a full game on Minnesota. They knew when they started that the Twins had lost those 2. Both went extra innings, and the A's lost 2. Polonia back in again. In case you're not familiar with the A's and Polonia, the reason for their concern is that he is a good base stealer, though this year with the A's he's stolen only 6 in his short time up here, but he's been caught 5 times also. Henderson fouls it off, trying to go to right. And he's been doing that with a great deal of success of late. In the California series in Anaheim, he had several base hits, 3 in 1 game to right field. Yeah, in 1985, Mike Moore was a 17-game winner with Seattle. Which is something considering the kind of team they had. The next year was a 13-game loser, and the year after that a 19-game loser.
I said one of the things that the year that he won so many ball games, he was using his sinker very effectively, and then all of a sudden he started using it a little bit too much, and it was not as effective. He started losing the ball game. So Billy Connors, a pitching coach, talked to him about throwing more than just a straight fastball, using the 4-seamer, riding the ball in more.
Henderson fouled it back. 4-seamer, that's when you hold the ball across the seams, the wide part of the baseball, and get all 4 seams turning. We're talking to Steve Olivares on the bench tonight prior to the game. By the way, he's supposed to be the starting pitcher for the A's next Tuesday night in Chicago. The game will be televising, and boy, is he anxious to get back out on that mound. He was telling us what happens when he holds the ball different ways. We're just underway here in the top half of the first inning. The A's and the Mariners at the Kingdome in Seattle, Washington. Polonia got picked off. He just kind of put his head down over there, Ray, it looked to me like, and took his eye off Mike Moore.
Well, that's one thing. It's a cardinal sin of a base runner. Definitely don't want to do that, but you figure that Moore is going to be looking over there enough and throwing over enough. He was
going to go.
He was going to go, and that's where the holding of the ball, that forcing the pitchers to come to that full stop now. As some base runners, Harold Reynolds with the Mariners is a good base runner. He said that kind of throws you off because if a pitcher gets in a rhythm, you can time that. If he comes to a full stop, it forces you to stop. And Lewis just got caught.
1-2 count on Henderson. Now it's 2-2. Boy, that's a shot in the arm for a pitcher. You got that leadoff man on and then pick him off. That's ball 3. Particularly everybody you can get off base with Canseco coming up in that inning, the more ahead of the game you are in percentages. Henderson hits it to right field pretty deep, and it's going to be either over it or off the wall, and it's over it. Henderson giving the old one-arm flap down job around the bases. Talk about the ball carrying. That was hit off towards the end of the bat and over the right field fence, which is about 22 feet high.
But that's a matter of the pitcher providing an awful lot of the power, and that's what Hindu and a lot of the hitters for the A's go in the opposite field. Last night they did against Langston. This time Hindu happened to get the ball, hit the ball very hard, and hit it the opposite way. You see a fastball away, and he just went with it. And the ball carried very well, and that's just the power pitcher against a power hitter. There's the difference. Look at this good swing right down on top, just driving it that way.
His 14th of the year, and here's Jose Canseco.
Billy Connor's going out to talk to his pitcher.
Well, he's certainly not getting the breaking ball over, Ray, and every one he's thrown seemingly has been right about the spot where that one there was, a long ways out.
Because if you throw that cross seamer, as we talked about, 3-2 fastball, here it is, and I don't know that any player who cannot hit a fastball.
We found out one last night who all night long couldn't hit it, and all of a sudden he hit it and went a mile, right? Well, Canseco hit his 27th homer of the year here last night. Takes low, ball 2. That plate umpire tonight, Greg Kosk. And his running mates out there are Darrell Cousins at first base, Rocky Rowe at second, and Nick Bremigan at third. Jose hits one deep in the right center field. It's got a chance. It's way back, and there she goes.
My goodness, that was shot there.
375 feet right at that mark, and 22 feet high over the wall. And the A's lead it 2-0.
What do we say about home runs here? But I think those balls are going to go out any ballpark. But once again, Jose, just like Hindu, going the opposite field. Right center for this particular case. That ball was hit. Watch his swing. That's everything put into it right there. Looking fastball, getting it over the 375-foot mark. Just a pretty swing right there.
There's another guy who could just hit one out also. That was 409 feet, the tail of the tape says here. Mark McGuire up now with 1 strike count. First base umpire Darrell Cousins says, yep, you did it. You swung.
And Mark starts to say you can't get a breaking ball over to everybody else, and now you come in with breaking balls to me.
And he showed the fastball out there. Jose Canseco. Boy, what a year. So you can have a bad series in Anaheim and a great series somewhere else the next day or two. McGuire lifts one off the end of the bat that's deep, but not deep enough. Well, that gave the fans here a little scare, and Mike Moore, I would imagine, lost one of the O's out of his name. Good thing he picked off Polonia. That's been the best way he's had to get people out here in this inning. Put them on and pick them off.
Good example right there. Mark had seen a couple of breaking balls. Then it gets a count where he gets a fastball. He's not able to drive it, not looking fastball so much as Hindu was 3-2, and Jose on the 2-0 pitch.
There's a breaking ball now to Ron Hasse, who's in the lineup tonight as a designated hitter. Drove in the go-ahead run in the 10th inning for the A's last night. Hit one right almost off his feet. It's outside a ball. He told Ray he thought that ball was down the middle.
That just kind of shows you has been struggling a little, but he said he just is not feeling comfortable. He doesn't feel that when he's standing at the plate, he starts asking himself, well, are my feet correct? Where are my hands? And he had good batting practice tonight. He's very aggressive swinging the bat. And basically, that's what you need to do. Just go up, especially if you're thinking too much. Just see the baseball, swing the bat, and let the rest of it do the work.
1-2 pitch. He struck him out. So Mike Moore gives up a couple of dingers here in the first inning, and the Athletics jump off to a 2-0 lead. Against Dave Stewart, Harold Reynolds leads off second. Henry Cotto is the only new guy in the lineup tonight from last night. He's in center field. Darnell Cole's batting third, playing left. Alvin Davis clean up at first. Steve Balboni back in as a DH, batting fifth, with Scott Bradley behind the plate. Jay Buhner in right field. Jim Presley at third base, and Ray Quinones at shortstop. And the big guy for the Oakland A's, who won his first 8 games this year, Dave Stewart.
And in the outfield, Polonia will be in left field tonight. Dave Henderson in center field. Jose Canseco in right field. On the infield, Carney Lansford a night off. Tony Phillips will play third. Mike Gallego at shortstop. Glenn Hubbard at second base. Mark McGuire at first. Terry Steinbach behind the plate. Dave Stewart 12-10. And if you think about his last 8 starts, he is 3-5. The A's have only scored him in his last 3 losses, only a total of 5 runs. So he has to be feeling kind of good right now to walk out on the mound before he's made a pitch and have at least a 2-run lead at this point.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, in his last 5 losses, the A's have been shut out 3 times and have scored him a total of 5, but he has not complained once during all that stretch. He just goes out and does his job, and probably, Ray, is pitching better now than he was when he was 8-0.
Well, in those 8 starts, his earned run average 2.40. That's not too bad.
Here's Harold Reynolds. First pitch is up high for ball 1. A real pro right there. That's a strike. You can see that ball move away from the left-handed batter. And that wasn't a fork ball. He has one of those that moves down and away from the left-hand batters. That was just a good fastball. And that was another one, and it's fouled off.
I always like to ask Dave how he's going to pitch the hitters as far as his fork ball. And he will say that sometimes he will not throw it to the right-handed hitters, but he said this ball club, they have a bunch of free swingers, so he'll throw it a lot tonight against this ball club.
Ball yanked foul. I believe that was it right there, the first time.
That's right.
Got it a little inside that time for the left-hand batter. You want to take a look at this pitch again, maybe?
Well, he's thrown 3 fastballs and getting ahead with 2 strikes. A good time to try to throw it. You see Steiny holding the target down. The ball just inside a little too much. You want to try to get that down a little more and away from the hitters if possible.
Fouled off. He had that one down a little better. So the A's have a certainly different looking infield tonight. McGuire's same at first, but Glenn Hubbard's back in the lineup now at second tonight, with Gallego playing short as he did last night, and Tony Phillips playing third base. That one fell off, but no swing by Reynolds, and the count is 2 balls, 2 strikes. The A's play Reynolds way over in left. I mean, there's a gigantic hole between center and right. He just threw it by. Threw him a few fork balls when he got those 2 strikes. Said enough is enough. Let's just go to work.
And that definitely gets a hitter thinking about it, as a lot of hitters will think about his fork ball, but here's just a good high fastball. And Reynolds gets a little bit of an uppercut swing instead of the good downswing as we saw with the 2 home runs. And as a result, a strikeout.
Now here's Henry Cotto, and this guy's had a good season with Seattle this year. You can see his statistics there are pretty good. 5 homers, 278. Curveball, first one of those tonight, and it's low for ball 1. another one and missed with it, ball 2. First inning, Dave's trying to find out what he does have himself. A lot of times you can have something in the bullpen, get out on the mound, and not have exactly the same pitches at all. There's a drive to left field, hit pretty well. Polonia's got it. The little guy just timed it perfectly, going to the wall, reached up and hauled it in with that bushel basket.
Number 2, Darnell.
Well, a fine catch on a 2-0 fastball. Cotto drives it very well. And the ball, the way the ball carries here, you never know. But you see Louis going back. He's going to look at the wall even. See where he is and jump up and make just a fantastic catch.
Rebounder. Oh, look, I got it, he said.
Now, with that basket he's got, he uses the biggest glove I've ever seen in my life.
I've never seen one like that this side of first base. Here's Darnell Coles, the left fielder. Stu starts him off the breaking ball and gets it in there for a strike. Well, that was quite a play by Poloni. At one time, the way he was running, I thought he'd given up when the ball was going to ready to play it off the wall. He looked over to see where it was and leaped and got it. Good fastball down and in, fouled away.
And what we were saying last night, it's tough to take your eye off the ball in this ballpark. He did. He was able to look at the wall to see where it was and still pick up the ball once it was there. Of course, as hard as it was hit, it might have been on it very quickly. Didn't have enough time to even worry about looking up and picking it down the concrete.
He got him. Dave Stewart, a very impressive first inning, striking out 2 out of 3. And after 1 inning of play, the A's lead 2-0.
Can you explain to us what happened there?
Well, Alan Trammell hit me in the leg the other day pitching against the Tigers. And it's kind of generally in that same area, and I was throwing probably around the second inning. It started to bother me a little bit. Wasn't taken away from anything as far as I was throwing the baseball, and then I threw that one pitch to Balboni. It was kind of like someone shot me in the leg, and it was going to take away from me from the way I was going to continue to pitch and help our club, so I needed to get out of there and not hurt myself any worse.
Okay, good. Does it look like you maybe make your next start?
I think I'll make my next start. I feel pretty good today. I feel a lot better now than I did when I first got here in the afternoon. And the good thing about it is, our trainers are doing a good job, and I'm taking necessary treatment. I feel good about that.
Thanks, Bob.
Okay, Storm Davis, you pitch and we'll announce.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, Storm did a good job. We've got a lot of guys on this A's ball club, but just they'll grab that microphone if you're not careful, and they're getting ready to have Bob Welch do that little bit and tell us how he got hurt last night. Storm said, I'll interview him. And he did. Wally Miller, our producer, and Carl Young, who goes out and lines these things up, just handed it to him, and they did a job. Terry Steinbach hits one in the air to deep center field himself. But that one's not hit quite as hard as the others. And to straightaway center field. And they got it. Oh, there's one out here in the second inning.
I'm just glad these pitchers, these guys are doing all the interviews, have at least a couple more years on a contract. And they're young enough, they're going to play another 5-10 years. So Terry Steinbach, a good swing. But unfortunately, this ball is going to go to the deepest part of the ballpark. Even though Jose Canseco said it carries very well here, that's no man's land out in center field. Ball hit very well by Terry, though.
Tony Phillips takes a strike from Mike Moore. It's 0-1. Asked Tony tonight how much third base he'd played. He said about 3 games. He said he likes it over there, though. Fouled it down. He can play short, second, or third. That's the way most of the A's infielders are. Tony La Russa has a great amount of versatility in those little guys, as we call them. Gallego and Phillips can play all over. One ball, 2 strikes. There's 1 out, second inning. Struck him out like an off-speed breaking ball. So Mike Moore, after the 2 homers, has now retired 4 batters in a row.
It just goes to show you the importance of the breaking ball. If you can get it over, it makes you an excellent pitcher. And that's what, as you mentioned, Dave Stewart throwing the breaking ball, trying to establish the curveball and the forkball to go along with the fastball. And Moore seems to, at least at this point, be throwing a better curveball than he was in the first inning.
There's another breaking ball, and it's in there for a strike to Glenn Hubbard. Well, Mike Moore was the player of the month in June. for the Seattle Mariners to show you the kind of month he can have. There's a little fly ball short center field. Kyler's got it, and 3 up, 3 down. Boy, that was an easy inning for Moore, and we go to the last of the second, 2-0 Athletics. Saturday, August 6th at the Oakland Coliseum, and the A's play these Mariners again. Compliments the California Egg Commission. The first 15,000 kids will receive a souvenir photo badge of Stu, just like the one you see there on the screen. Call tonight, any of those numbers, and you can order tickets for the game that day, August 6th. Dave Stewart photo badge. You need one of those, kids. Get mom and dad off the couch and tell them to give a call to those numbers tonight and get your ticket. Then you have to get them to the ballpark early and make sure you're one of the first 15,000. Here's Alvin Davis. He'll be followed by Steve Balboni and Scott Bradley. Working to the outside. Dave is behind him at 2-0. Back inside, and Dave's all messed up on this batter. He is at 3-0 now. He lost him on 4 straight. And that brings up the big bull. Steve Balboni, the designated hitter.
Number 45, Steve.
10th inning home run last night. Extended his hitting streak to 8 games. During those 8 games, he's had 4 homers and 8 runs batted in. And in the month of July, he's had hits in 20 out of 24 games. Here's last night's blast.
I'm sure Eck wants to see that again.
Yeah. Sure, a lot of A's fans are happy to see that one again. Well, here he is again. Stewart goes at him with the fastball, and it was a good one. They struck him out 3 times with high fastballs last night. But Eck just didn't have the velocity on his fastball that he had ordinarily had. There's a slider, and it's a beauty. And Balboni had no chance at that pitch right there.
Well, after throwing all fastballs to Alvin Davis and coming back again to get ahead of Steve Balboni, he drops a breaking ball right here that, as you mentioned, very tough for anybody to try to hit. That's what you call painting on the outside corner.
And did you see where Balboni's foot was? Ground ball of third baseman Phillips to Hubbard and over to McGuire. They turn the double play. That's a good pitch by Dave Stewart right there. They had sort of ganged up in that hole that time on Balboni. Phillips was off the line towards the hole, and Gallego had come over towards third, so they really had that spot covered. Here now Scott Bradley, the Mariners catcher. Curveball high. In 198 at-bats this year, Bradley's hit 1 home run. Work ball fell off too much, 2-0.
Don't tell Dave Stewart that throughout his career he's hit 2 off of Dave. He's hit 5 for 7 coming into this year against Dave Stewart. So again, there's certain hitters that hit certain pitchers.
Foul just went away. Well, it could be that that particular hitter just was in a hot streak when he faced that particular pitcher, like Wally Joyner. I don't think anybody could have gotten him out in the last week. In fact, nobody has. There's a fly ball to left field, and Polonia doesn't have to leap for this one. It's right in his hand, and that's all she wrote for the Mariners. And through 2 quick innings here at the Kingdome, it's 2-0 Oakland.
Associated Grocers and Nabisco, the official sponsors of the Mariner birthday package.
The second annual Men's Warehouse Oakland A Zoo Night will be Friday, August 12th, when the A's host the California Angels. Regularly priced $8 Plaza level tickets, $4. $6 upper reserve, only $2 when purchased through Men's Warehouse stores or the Oakland Zoo. All proceeds, of course, go to the zoo for construction of a new home for Smokey the Elephant. Here's Mike Gallego, the athletic shortstop, fouling the first pitch off from Mike Moore into the stand. Strike one. Yeah, I've got a good opportunity to get old Smokey the Elephant a new house before the winter rains set in.
Hope there's winter rains.
Isn't that right? See, the A's play at bargain prices, too. Gallego swings through a fastball. Strike two. Mike hurt his hand there, or is he just talking to himself about missing that pitch?
Probably swinging at a high fastball that was a ball. Guy throws as hard as Moore tonight. Langston last night. That high fastball, tough pitch to lay off.
He got him on the breaking ball, and Moore is starting to crank it up now. 3 strikeouts.
Number 22.
And the K's are back tonight.
That guy picked the wrong seat because he's sitting there to enjoy the ball game. They're handing him the K's to put up.
Luis Polonia got a single in the first inning to start the ball game, and was picked off first. He fouled this one away. Strike one. The Athletics lead 2-0 on home runs back-to-back by Henderson and Canseco, both to the opposite field. Louis trying to go to left with an outside pitch, fouled it off into the A's bullpen. Speaking of the bullpen, you don't see number 43 down there. A little early for Eck to go down there. We saw him well before the game tonight, out jogging in the streets of Seattle. We were on our way to the ballpark and saw this guy in green shorts and a bright gold shirt. There went our reliever. Base hit right field for Polonia. He got a breaking ball and just opened up enough, and it just came right into where he was. And in his characteristic way, when he does something well, he slaps his hands together. He's a demonstrative little guy.
Both times with 2 strikes. As a matter of fact, the same count, 1 ball and 2 strikes. The first time taking the ball in left field. That time a little bit slower pitch for Mike Moore, able to pull it.
Here's Dave Henderson last time up.
A lot of power in that swing.
Dave, of course, played right here. Look at that statistic. An incredible one put up by Ingrid. And down in our truck here on what we call the Chiron. Look at that. 13 wins and no losses when this guy's hit a homer. That's a ball. Yeah, we have our full-fledged traveling TV crew with us tonight. Of course, Wally Miller, our producer, and Carl Young, Ingrid, and Donnie down in the truck. A good crew up here in Seattle always, too. These guys are terrific. Good slider. Boy, that was a good pitch right there.
Well, you had to know that with Dave Henderson coming up, probably the same with Jose Canseco. After hitting the fastball is out to right field. And the fact that Moore throwing his breaking ball a little better, a lot better actually, probably see more, especially with the power hitters now.
Pitch out. You can tell that one too. He shortened up his the way he delivers. And if the catcher didn't give it away by jumping out early, the pitcher surely did. Jim LeFever shoots some signs across over there. To Polonia, 2 ball and 1 strike. It's a good do something count for a pitch with the whole right side of the infield open. Got your second baseman cheating a little towards the middle. As you can see right there, shortstop cheating a little bit. First baseman holding against Polonia. There's a drive to left field down the line, and they were not playing him on the line. Poloni is going to go for third. Henderson going for second. They're both right there. Well, they were playing Henderson well off the line and left towards left center. And he just hit it right down the line. Looked like a high breaking ball to me. But whatever it was, he jumped on it.
Well, it's not so high of a breaking ball. The fact it was 2-1, and Hindu, again, will look fastball, make adjustments on the breaking ball, and that would just happen to be in his good zone for him to drive. Darnell Coles coming up with the ball very wisely, throwing to second base, trying to get Hindu. But Dave, with his speed, able to get into second easily.
Now, but they don't pitch to Jose Canseco here with first base open. Now they're moving over right now to hold a runner at second base. And they're going to give him 4 wide ones. You want to know why they're going to walk him? That was his last time up.
Of course, one last night. He hit a couple on the first trip here to the Kingdom.
There's a lot of Oakland fans here, and a lot of fans are booing because you have to stop and think that a lot of even Seattle fans come a long ways just to see guys like Canseco and Henderson, McGuire, and see these guys hit them out.
I'd say the majority of the Seattle fans are the ones that are booing.
Yeah.
Even though Mickey Morbido said the pass list here in Seattle is the tops that he has seen ever as far as passes, complimentary tickets being left by the A's players.
He's already told us that the pass list in New York is already used up. There are no tickets available in New York. And that's quite a ways down the road. And imagine what it'll be in Boston when we get there. Well, the jackpot is ready to be unloaded right here by Mark McGuire. And off the stretch, Mike Moore is ready to go. High and inside, ball 1.
Well, this is the time the A's have to take advantage. Last night, had a runner at third base and less than 2 outs, could not get him in that 10th inning, as a matter of fact. And it's an opportunity now when you get the bases loaded and 1 out. You have a pitcher who's struggling a little. You definitely want to take advantage of him early.
Base. No, it's not a base hit. Nice stop at third. They get the double play. Oh, man, that ball looked like it was going to be in there through the left side. Presley off the line, made a dive to his left, came up with it, and turned a hard hit ball into a double play. That might be a game saver for Seattle later on. So it remained 2-0 Oakland. Well, the upcoming A's television coverage on this road trip is quite extensive. Tomorrow, of course, at 1:30 on the A's TV network, and then we'll go over to Chicago for telecast on Tuesday and Wednesday nights at 5:30. And then it's back against the California Angels for our next one. That's at the Coliseum on the 13th.
Well, a good low fastball by Mike Moore as Mark McGuire hit what looked like a base hit in the hole, but Jim Presley turns a double play. And the thing about this turf, you just have to position yourself correctly, and you hope the ball that is hit to you or close to you that you can get to. That time the ball hit hard by Mark McGuire, but just to the left. Good play by Jim Presley.
And here's Jay Buhner, the new acquisition from the New York Yankees for the Seattle Mariners. And Dave Stewart starts him off with a breaking ball, strike 1. Tomorrow afternoon, it's Storm Davis trying for his 10th win of the year against Scott Bankhead, who's 5-4 for Seattle. 1 ball, 1 strike. Mariners are 22 games under 500. The A's are 21 games over. Oh, man, that ball had some mustard on it right there. Good fastball to the inside on Buhner.
That's a tough pitch for anybody to hit right there. You can get it in there.
Cut off nicely by Tony Phillips. He sets and guns it over to first for the out. Good range by Tony already twice in this game.
Number 17, Jim Presley.
The thing about Tony Phillips is he's shown to play the outfield, the infield, and there just a great play as he did in the last inning, starting the double play. Tony has a strong arm. Of course, that allows him to be able to play the shortstop or third positions, which obviously the longer throw.
I asked him if he thought he was going to have any trouble at all throwing the ball from that third base side. He said none at all. Breaking ball, strike call to Jim Presley. Boy, Dave's got that breaking ball over basically the whole game so far. Missed with it a couple of times in the first inning, but he's come back with it real strongly now to these right-hand batters. Came up and in with a heater that time. It's 0-2. Hey, Phillips using one of the smallest gloves you'll ever see a third baseman use. Coming inside again, and he got it. Dave Stewart looking tough. That's his third strikeout. Boy, it's so good when a guy has got good stuff and can throw it like that. Steiny set up inside, and the ball is right there. Look at that glove. Phillips has almost no fingers on that glove.
Thinking about it, if as many positions he plays, if he had to take a different glove for every position, he'd have to take a different bag, a whole different bag.
Isn't that right? Ray Quinones, the shortstop. Well, Dave's coming up and in on everybody right now, all these right-handed batters. We're able to show you the record these batters have for the series. Came inside again, missed with it.
It's very similar to the Fenway Park pitchers pitching to the right-handed hitters there. They like to pitch inside, figuring that you wouldn't want to do that because of the short fence in left field in Boston. It's very similar here. The ball carries so well, but yet you get inside where the hitters, the power hitters, cannot extend their arms. Then they can actually, you can get them out a little bit easier that way.
Well, here's a 3-1 pitch. And he lost him. Walked the leadoff man Davis in the second inning, but they turned the next batter into a double play. Go back to the top of the batting order now, and here's Harold Reynolds. Struck out his first time up. Mark McGuire with Big Black Bertha over there at first is his glove. So far in the two games, he's had 1 hit and 5 at-bats, as you can see. Dave let up on him that time and missed outside with it, ball 1. Two 2-0. The Athletics lead, had a chance to break it wide open in the third. Drive into center field. Henderson going back. And that's all for the Mariners here in the third. 1 man left on, and after 3 innings to play, there's your score. 2-0 Athletics over the Mariners. When you come to the A's game on Sunday, August 14th, the first 25,000 fans are going to take home a Surf baseball card collectible book like you see right there. It's compliments of Surf laundry detergent, color reprints of A's cards, baseball card packs, and season highlights, all for you on August 14th when the A's play the hot California Angels. There's Ron Hasse, the A's designated hitter tonight. Swings through a Mike Moore fastball. Speaking of the hot Angels, they won today something like 15-14.
Chili Davis, 2 home runs, 1 from each side.
Is that
Switch
right?
hitter, right-handed, left-handed.
Oh, they are hot right now. Playing like somebody in a golf tournament shooting a 64. They passed a lot of people here in the last month. Change up hit hard to the first baseman, but right straight at Davis, and he's got it himself. 1 out, and up comes Terry Steinbach, the Oakland catcher. New general manager of the Seattle Mariners, Woody Woodward, will be here tomorrow. They just announced a little while ago here in the press box. He'll hold a press conference tomorrow sometime. Mariners have been spending the last few afternoons out here at the ballpark very early going through fundamental drills. Today, working on rundown plays. Yesterday, it was cutoff and relay plays.
And it gave you the impression it was like spring training all over again, didn't it?
Yeah, they even get together in a circle, do their exercises, and then throw short toss and then long toss. Steinbach hits a pretty long one right there, but it's right at Darnell Coles on the warning track. Steining's hit one to center and one to left, and he's 0 for 2 as a result.
And hit the ball hard both times, and very similar last night where the A's hitters hitting the ball hard against Mark Langston, not too many of them getting base hits. But it's a good feeling, even though you make out. You at least like to go back knowing that you have hit the ball hard, and you're making good contact, which means a good swing. You like to stay in that groove rather than getting jammed and broken bats, bloop outs.
First pitch outside of Tony Phillips, strikeout victim in the second inning. He's one of 3 strikeouts that Mike Moore has chalked up so far in the game. Tony, a switch hitter. Back to the fastball on 2-0, and it's right in there. Phillips hits 238 from the right side, 176 from the left side. He's only had 116 at bats this year.
There's a perfect example of them when you pitch away, and Tony Phillips questioning home plate umpire Greg Kosk about those pitches, but he had a little bit of a tail from the right-handed pitcher to the left-handed batter. Ball sinking away from the hitter.
That one just took off away from him. Ball 3.
As if Moore starts out inside to Tony Phillips, and that ball sinks away, it can end up down the middle part of the plate.
He struck him out. Phillips asked the plate umpire if the ball was over the plate. I don't know what he told him because it wasn't a visible nod or a head shake by the umpire. 3 up, 3 down, and we are in the 4th inning. 2-0 Oakland.
Groups of 35 will receive discounted tickets.
Well, if you're just joining us, bottom of the 4th inning at the Keene Dome, 2 home runs by the A's have accounted for the runs. The first inning, Dave Henderson on a 3-2 fastball, home run number 14. For Hindu to right field, and on a 2-0 fastball, Jose Canseco. His 28th home run of the season, a blast to right center. 2-0 A's in the bottom of the 4th.
And Henry Cotto is first up for the Mariners here in the 4th inning, and after hitting that line drive on a fastball in the first inning to left, Stu starts him off with a breaking ball, and Cotto way out front. Back with another one, and it's way outside.
Well, they started Cotto off the first time with breaking balls, 2 breaking balls, getting behind him, came in with a fastball. He got ahead on the first breaking ball this time.
Dave took a little off that one, and it missed. It's 2 balls and 1 strike. Staying with that breaking ball, he's missing with it outside. So now Henry Cotto standing there with a 3-1 count on it as the leadoff man in the 4th inning. And he walks him. It's the second time Dave has walked the leadoff man. Darnell Coles, the left fielder, up for Seattle, and he struck out his first time up.
We'll go back to Dave Stewart's last start against the California Angels when he pitched against Kirk McCaskill. He did not walk a batter in that complete ball game. 8 innings, threw only 100 pitches. Tonight, 3 walks so far.
Henry Cotto has his right foot up on the carpet here, which indicates a pretty good sized lead. He must feel pretty comfortable against Dave Stewart. Look at that, right foot's up on the carpet. He's going. Steinbach's throw is a little offline, and Cotto steals it. Well, with that kind of a lead over there at first base, I'm surprised that dude didn't throw over there at least once. Steinbach.
Well, sometimes you don't necessarily want to give away your move, but this pitch very tough for Stein. He was up and in, and of course you have to try to turn and combine that with a quick lead, good lead by Henry Cotto. Good jump. He got a stolen base, and it's a matter of the Seattle Mariners trying to get something started.
Terry Steinbach has had a good percentage throwing runners out. That time it was a little bit too tough to do. He's been throwing them out at 47%. Breaking ball fouled off. Let's pause quickly for station identification. On one of those stations, you're watching Oakland A's baseball on the A's TV network. And this is Monty Moore along with Ray Fosse, broadcasting from the Kingdome in Seattle. A's lead it 2-0. Breaking ball, you can see Coles that time have an inside-out swing just trying to move the man over. But Dave had a little too much on that one to manhandle. Henry Cotto with a walk to lead off the 4th inning. Then he stole second base. Cotto's on his way to third, and the ball is hit to third. Safe there. Phillips throws to first to get his man. Tony made a good swipe right there and getting Cotto. Dave had been taking a very long time to get rid of that ball, and Cotto had 25-foot lead down off second base.
Well, and he almost ran right into a double play because Darnell Cole is getting jabbed on the inside fastball. Tony Phillips going over to cover on the attempted steal. Had a chance to make a swipe at Darnell Coles to try to get, or to Cotto to try to get him, and enough time to throw Coles out at first base.
Well, there's one out runner at third. The A's infield is back. And here's Alvin Davis. Fork ball falls down and away. 2-0 Oakland. That particular score is in jeopardy right here. Cotto's stolen 22 bases, been caught only twice all year. Outside to Davis. 2-0 on him. Well, David had excellent control throughout the ball game so far, is missing a little bit here in the 4th. Bouncing ball to first baseman Mark McGuire. No play at the plate. Cotto scores, and it's 2-1. Got that run without a hit. And those are the kind that hurt. This guy was with the Yankees, and then he went to Kansas City. Had some productive years for Kansas City, didn't he, Ray?
Yes, he did. And just looking at the home run totals we were talking about here in the Kingdome through this ball game now, 114 home runs hit at the Kingdome. Before last night's ball game at Kansas City, only 69 had been hit. So you can see the difference in the way the ball carries in Kansas City, a bigger ballpark. And so for Steve Balboni, who has the home run potential to come to a ballpark where the ball carries very well, you can see the difference.
Oh, he could play another 2 or 3 years up here, probably, maybe even longer than he would have anywhere else. David throwing him a good breaking ball prior to that pitch, and then got right in on him. You could tell Balboni was looking for the breaking ball that time because he didn't have much of a swing on a fastball. And there's the breaking ball that left him standing. That was an excellent pitching effort by Dave Stewart to Steve Balboni. He gave him everything he had. 1 run without a hit, and it's 2-1 Oakland. All major entertainment events sold by Bass, and you'll receive a free ticket to the A's Rangers game on September 14th when you purchase a ticket to the A's Seattle game on August the 5th. Bass Ticketmaster Center, Food Tower in the warehouse, or you can call those numbers. Speaking of numbers, there's a number of Oakland A's fans. Many there among the wives who are traveling with the team on this trip. 22 wives, I understand, are traveling on this trip. Glenn Hubbard is up. Pitch outside, ball 1. Mike Moore gave up 2 homers and a single in the first inning. A walk, a single, and a double in the third. And the A's didn't score out of that because of a bases loaded double play into which Mark McGuire hit. Very sharp ball. 2-0 on Hub. Well, Moore's walked only 1 batter tonight. That was Canseco intentionally in the third inning. Now Glenn Hubbard's on to start the A's in the 5th to see if they can manufacture a run, as did Seattle.
Number 9, Mike Gallego.
Mike Gallego comes on for the Athletics. All right, Ray, we've got a great Oakland A's fan who's been in and out of the hospital a whole lot the last month or so, but he sees all of our games down in Porterville. A guy by the name of Lowell Parsons. I just want to pass along our best wishes to Lowell, who's having trouble staying healthy enough to watch these games and really enjoy them lately, but he's there. When he goes to the hospital, he makes sure he goes to one that has the A's games on cable. Has to go to Visalia to do that.
And one that's air conditioned.
Oh, I'll say it was 106 down there again today. I think it's the 15th straight day today. They've been over 100 degrees. 15th in a row down in the valley. Tell you people, it's about a high of about 75 here today, 73. Pitch out, nothing's happening.
That was an interesting call after 4 consecutive pitches,
Yeah.
all balls by the pitcher Mike Moore, then a pitch out on the first one. You'd almost think that the hitter is going to be at least taking 1 strike. And so you call a pitch out.
Gallego had a long look at Jim Lefevre. Hubbard very short lead at first base. He's going, and hit and run is on, and they're going to have Hubbard down at second. About as far as they want to have him. Hubbard looking back over his shoulder all the way to second base. And Gallego just swung through the pitch.
I guess they knew what we were talking about, or they knew what they were talking about. Mike Gallego swung through the pitch. Sometimes, though, when a pitcher has been a little bit wild, it's an advantage if he's not throwing strikes, because you swing through, and that pitch was down to Mike Gallego. He swung through and missed.
Inside to Gallego. Mike struck out in the third inning, his only other time at bat in the game. The A's lead it 2-1. They came out of the blocks as if they're going to score a bunch here tonight.
Got that good sinker back. That's a similar pitch that he threw, and Mike swung through it. And again, the way Greg Koska's been calling the game tonight, some pitches to Dave Stewart have been down in that area. He's called them balls, so it could very easily have been 3-0 right now.
It is 3-2. 1 out, 5th inning. Second game of a 3-game series tomorrow afternoon at 1:30. Storm Davis for the Athletics. Scott Bankhead for Seattle. Then it's off to Chicago for the A's after the game tomorrow. Struck him out with a sinker. 5 strikeouts for Mike Moore, and they hang up another one out there. Here's Polonia, has had 2 for 2, but hasn't scored yet.
Those are 3 pitches to Mike Gallego that made Mike Moore a very excellent pitcher when he won all the ball games 1985. Good sinker ball. As hard as he throws and it sinks like that, makes it very difficult to hit.
Fastball strike. Sometimes guys come out in an early inning as he did, and team jumps all over him, and then he gets out of a jam like he did in the third inning and really gets that second win, and it's tough to score on him.
The difference in that first inning, the fastballs that he threw for home runs, they were straight. They weren't moving at all.
Polonia fouled it off. Oh, he got a high pitch that time to handle, and it's hit under it. If Polonia hit a ball right straight out over second base in the air, he'd have 3 bases easy, I believe. Their center fielder is very, very shallow, and look at there where the center fielder is. And look at the hole between him and the right fielder. Look at that. Nobody there for a block. It's a high bouncer instead of the second baseman. Reynolds throws him out, and the A's don't score in the 5th inning. No, it looks as if the A's have said, Dave Stewart, we got you 2. We haven't even been doing that. Now you hold them, because there's the score, 2-1.
Won their 19th in a row at home, defeating Milwaukee by a score of 3-2. Minnesota 4-2 over Cleveland in a rain-shortened ball game. A Bombers 15-14. The Angels defeating Chicago. 3-1 New York over Toronto Exhibition Stadium. Texas 3-0. Getting beat.
And the leadoff man for the Mariners, Scott Bradley, is on with a 5 or 6 hopper out over the mound into center field.
That was Detroit defeating Texas, leading Texas 3-0 that ball game in the 8th inning. And Kansas City 8-5 over the Baltimore Orioles, that also in the 8th inning. 15-14 game, California. Schofield, Davis, Howe, Pasco, Miller, Manrique all homering in that ball game. Davis actually 2 home runs.
Now, that's a big ballpark in Chicago too to be hitting them out of. Booner takes a curveball, strike 1.
And if you think about it, 15-11 the Angels were leading Chicago. Going to the bottom of the 9th inning, White Sox scored 3.
Here's another breaking ball, and again it's a strike. Dave had one of the best sliders or breaking balls tonight I've seen him have in a while. Looks like he's going to have everything he's got in the arsenal tonight too, because he's only got a 1-run lead. Fly ball center field deep. Hindu back there saying, I've got it. Turns around and he has. Gets a throw back into second base.
Well, he's a strong young man right there. That was a good pitch by Stu. A fastball inside. Inside out swing. Not able to extend his arms, and right there, I tell you, Hindu had to go a long way, but fortunately the ball hit to the deepest part of the ballpark.
Look at him square around to get ready to throw.
Bradley had gone back after he saw Hindu was going to be able to get to it, thinking about tagging up.
Went out 5th inning, and here's Jim Presley, the 3rd baseman. Presley with 11 homers this year. After the fastball up and in, Stu struck him out in the 3rd inning by throwing it by. Frank Howard, the hitting instructor for the Seattle Ball Club, was telling me tonight before the game how frustrated they've been the last 2 or 3 weeks. They've been getting a lot of hits in every game, but they've not been getting the big hits until Balboni got the one last night. Fly ball foul, out of play.
And only with last night, Balboni broke an 0 for 26 string. The runners in scoring position. It took a home run in the 10th inning last night to do that, with Reynolds at 3rd base.
2 strikes the count on Presley. Let's see how Stewart goes after him. Stewart right up in the wheelhouse, and Presley had a pretty good cut, fouled it back to the screen. Looks as if they have a little bigger crowd here tonight than they had last night. They had almost 15,000 last night. Probably not a whole lot over that tonight. Giving away towels here tonight. Beach towels. And there's no beach out here.
And batting gloves tomorrow, so maybe that'll get a few extra folks out tomorrow.
Way outside for the breaking ball. Scott Bradley, the runner at first and 1 out in the 5th inning. The Athletics lead 2-1. Back-to-back homers, first inning. Henderson, Canseco. A little high with the breaking ball at 2-2 now. Get Presley down to the count at 0-2.
Steiny giving a sign for Dave Stewart to throw to first base. We talked last night the difference what Scott Bradley was doing and what Terry Steinbach. Steiny got up, gave a target as if the pitch was coming to him. Instead, the throw went to first base. You go through everything normal as to not tip off what you're trying to do.
Now Dave all of a sudden lost that breaking ball, and he's gone to a 3-2 count. Dangerous thing about the way he's missed the last 2 breaking balls he's thrown, they've been high breaking balls. Presley, you know, is going to be looking for a fastball right here. What he gets may be something else, but he's going to be looking fastball. And the runner's gone, and it's fouled off. He got fastball, and he fouled it off. Boy, even in a double play situation, the A's shortstop Gallego is way off the bag towards third from second. Bradley's gone again. There's a line drive knocked down by Gallego, but it kept it from going on a fly out there to left field. And they've got the tying runner at third base.
And the thing that allowed Bradley to be able to go to third base, the fact that Mike Gallego knocked the ball down. Had he not knocked it down, it would have gotten out to Louis Poloni. But Mike Gallego, a great effort trying to catch the ball on the line, which would have been a double play. Instead, it rose very easily into left field. Bradley able to get to third base.
So they've got runners at first and third and 1 out, and Ray Quinones is up now. Oh, it makes such a difference on what the count is, the kind of swing a guy gets. Breaking ball is still high. Stewart had a great one for a while, and now all of a sudden he just can't throw it over where he wants to for a strike.
Well, it's starting to be a flat breaking ball instead of the sharp breaking, when flat ones are the ones that can get you in trouble.
And it's 2-0. Steinbach asked for time. He's going to have a little talk with his pitcher. During the course of a game, the momentum just takes an ebb and tide, go and flow as the pitchers go. There's Tony La Russa down talking to Dave Duncan. Trying to figure out what's happened to this big right-hander. Pitch is fouled away. Well, when he had Presley at no balls, 2 strikes, he threw a big breaking ball, sort of a waste pitch, hoping he'd chase it. It was about 1.5 feet, 2 feet outside. He didn't chase it. Dave then started missing here and there. Batter fouls off 1 or 2, and the first thing you know, you got a groove one. And as many times as Presley has struck out in this series, it was amazing to me. They started that runner twice in a row over there.
Again, it's a count that made it that way. Figured he's going to get a fastball and be able to make contact.
Oh, that just barely missed right there. 3-1 now.
Well, Quinones has some power, so even though you think hitting in the 9th position, it's just tough to lay the pitch right in. And you make a good pitch, you get a double play, get out of the inning.
Fouled it away, and now 3-2 again. Well, they started a runner a while ago on 3-2. You wonder if they'll do it again. A little different circumstance now. They do have a runner at third. There goes the runner. Popped up. It's off third base. Tony Phillips coming after it. He's got it. Well, Jim Snyder's playing a pretty aggressive brand of baseball here.
Well, that time Quinones, I think, trying to do a little bit too much with that particular pitch. I think he was trying to hit the ball out of the ballpark instead of just driving it. Got under it. Good pitch by Stu. Good out. A big out.
Now here's Harold Reynolds up for the third time in the ball game. He struck out and flying to center field in this game. 2-1 Oakland. 2 down, 5th inning. He really hooked that ball foul. Reynolds has been turning on Dave a little bit in this ball game. He's pulled 2 or 3 very sharply down that way in this game.
Well, that was a fork ball that Stu came in with and had enough off of it that actually threw a change fork ball.
Backed up right over the plate.
And so actually it's a good pitch to get the hitter out front, looking fastball perhaps, and pull the ball.
Steinbach blacks that one, but he can't keep the runner from going to second. He did keep the runner at third, and Steinbach has got a sore right hand right now. That'll go as a wild pitch, allowing Presley to go to second base.
Well, the thing that you do when you're blocking the baseball thrown in the dirt, you put your hand down to try to block, to help keep your glove down and touch the ground. You watch Steiner go down to his knees right there, and as it was, the ball hit right on his right hand, and you just throw your entire body out just to try to block the ball. Of course, your right hand is exposed. It's just one of the beatings that you take in just trying to prevent that run from scoring. Good play.
Puts a go-ahead run down at second base now. Stewart misses outside, and he is gone to another behind count on a batter. It's 2-1. Came hard with that one.
I think that Stu throwing the fork ball in the dirt, that he may not come back with it with the runner at third base, but that's not Dave Stewart. He has a confidence in Terry Steinbach that he can block the ball if it is thrown down the dirt. That's what you don't want to do. Take the pitch away from your repertoire.
Reynolds swinging late, foul that one off up into the crowd. Dave Stewart's biggest crisis of the game is right here. He's leading 2-1. A base hit could put him behind. Reynolds is just trying to hit the ball. He's got 2 strikes on him. He's just up there protecting the plate right now.
Well, he knows Stu has a good fork ball, and he wants to try to stay back and protect, just fight the fastball off and be ready if he throws the fork ball.
Nice grab by Mike Gallego. We had to hold up. I knew he'd hit it in on the fist, or not all that hard, but you didn't know where it was going to go. And Gallego knew, timed his jump perfectly, and Stewart takes a 2-1 lead into the dugout.
Here's the last pitch of Dave Stewart in the last inning. A good fastball inside sinking, but Mike Gallego timing it perfectly to get out of that inning with runners at second and third. That ball very close to being into left field, which of course would have put the Mariners ahead. Instead, A's still lead it going into the 5th inning.
And here's Dave Henderson, who has homered and doubled in 2 trips to the plate tonight off Mike Moore. Had a good swing right there. Missed it. Strike 1.
Scores in the National League. San Francisco defeated Atlanta Candlestick 2-1. It was New York over Pittsburgh 3-0 at Shea Stadium. Philadelphia 3-2 over the Chicago Cubs. Houston 14-6 over the Los Angeles Dodgers in Los Angeles this afternoon.
Dodgers starting to hear footsteps.
Cincinnati 1-0 over San Diego. That in the 4th inning at San Diego.
Now Mike Moore is falling behind Dave Henderson in the count.
And St. Louis, Montreal, that's 2-1. A final. The Montreal Expos defeating St. Louis.
Henderson hits a sharp grounder to the second baseman, Harold Reynolds. He throws him out, almost threw it away. Boy, Mike Moore just sort of cut the A's off here. He got out of that big jam in the 3rd inning, bases loaded, one out, and Mark McGuire up, and Mark hit a ball very sharply that was turned into a double play. Since that time, Mike Moore has allowed only one base runner, and he was out on a misfired hit and run play. There's a strike on the outside corner. Jose's not all that much spread out right now.
He's going to make the adjustments, I'm sure, with different pitchers. Last night with Langston, figured he wanted to spread out. Of course, something that he was just working on yesterday afternoon. Talking to Jimmy Lefebvre, he said as they were flying in from Anaheim, and he went up to Jose Canseco to talk about what he was doing down in Anaheim. And before Jimmy could say a word, Jose said, "I know I'm doing something wrong. I want to work on it when we get to Seattle." Jimmy said, "I'll see you out at 2:30. That's why I came out here yesterday.
Well, he got the first 2 pitches right over the outside corner on Jose for strikes, and that one was wasted way outside. Darryl Strawberry pulled even with him in the home run chase, but Jose with 2 here the last couple of nights has moved back out front in the big league home run derby. 2-2 count. 1 out, 6th inning. Remember, we'll be here again tomorrow at 1:30 on the A's television network. Storm Davis trying for win number 10 against Scott Bankhead. 3-2 now. Ray, what's your feeling when you get 2 strikes on a batter? You were a catcher and one of the really good ones at calling pitches. What was your feeling when you got 0-2 count on a batter?
Go after it.
Go right now. Quit.
Well, I mean, usually, you try to set up a hitter, but Moore just painted the black with 2 pitches on the outside part of the plate. Now all of a sudden he's taking it 3-2. And for a guy who does not pitch inside, you just have to look away. It throws him a 3-2 slider.
He ends up having to throw 3-2. It's always sort of the way I felt. And you've had several instances here tonight where the pitcher's gone to no ball, 2-strike count. And you start trying to be fine, thinking these guys are going to chase a ball a foot and a half outside. That doesn't happen.
I can understand if you go inside after throwing 2 outside, you go inside to throw 1, maybe 2, and then come back outside. But again, for a pitcher who does not pitch inside that much, it kind of tells the hitter that he's going to keep everything away. And I think that's one of the reasons 2 home runs tonight, both of them to right field, fastballs away.
Jose Canseco at first. Thrown out stealing here last night. But he has swiped 26 bases this year out of 36 tries. 10 assists from the outfield, too. Slider outside to McGuire. There's an interesting statistic with men on base. Mark's hitting 300 or better. Say, with all these computers around the ballparks these days, he has statistics on everything. Pitch out. They thought he was going that time. Well, when Moore pitches out, he just kind of gets that foot up off the air, off the ground a little bit, and fires hard. Here's Lefebvre.
Pretty good confidence in Mike Moore, a good control type pitcher normally. Otherwise, you would not be pitching out the way the Mariners have tonight.
Puts him behind McGuire, 2-0. That is not an enviable position in which to be to a hitter like this. When Jose steals, he doesn't do it as a result of getting an extra large lead at first. He just reads the pitcher and gets those long legs going, and when he gets it rolling, he's moving. Inside to McGuire. After 2 outside, he's now gone to 3-0 count. And Moore thought that was a strike. And so did the skipper. Jose's at first. McGuire at the plate, 3-0. The A's lead it 2-1. This one's in there, and he likes it. There's no way Tony La Russa would have said to him, take it. A good hack at a low fastball, and that's his pitch. He is a low ball hitter.
Unfortunately, though, they had a little sink to it.
Yep,
It's a good
it did.
sinker ball. Very similar to what Mike Gallego struck out on. And Mike Moore thinking that he would be swinging. Otherwise, he might have just thrown the cross-seamer, the four-seamer, trying to get the strike.
See, Canseco is just about 2 feet off, 3 feet off the bag over there. Jimmy Lefevre, one of the interesting guys ever. You just want to sit down and talk baseball. Mark hits another double play ball. Second. The first, he got him. So the A's still don't score in the 6th inning and hang on to a 2-1 lead. On Sunday, August 7th, the A's play these Mariners at the Oakland Coliseum. And the first 15,000 kids to come will receive a white athletics t-shirt, compliment to the A's, and or take a chili. Start calling right away. And call these numbers, the Bass numbers, and reserve your tickets for that ball game. Sunday, August 7th, A's Mariners, free t-shirts to the kids. Well, the Mariners have been coming back slowly in the 4th and 5th innings, and here's Henry Cotto, who got their run in the 4th. Pops this one up. Glenn Hubbard says, I've got it. 1 out.
Chased a high fastball. He's a guy you figure that can get on base and steal some bases. You think he might be taking some pitches, but he jumped on the first pitch fastball up out of the strike zone. Good pitch by Stu.
A lot of mind games go on there between batter and pitcher. The last time up, Cotto walked on 4 straight, and he's probably thinking, well, Dave's going to make sure that he doesn't walk me this time. He'll start me off with 1 in there. And had a whack at it. Here's Darnell Cole, struck out and grounded out. High, ball 1. Stewart gave up his first hit in the 5th inning. He pitched 4 hitless innings. They scored a run without a hit in the 4th. As Bradley broke up the no-hitter, and then Presley got another single on a 3-2 count. Now Stu's behind 2-0 to Coles. Stewart is a doer and a complete doer at that. He's pitched 3 straight complete games, and he's pitched 4 complete games out of his last 5 starts. Liner left center field, a base hit. And Darnell Coles continues to prove to the Mariners they were right in bringing him back.
First baseman, number 21, Alvin Davis.
And up comes Alvin Davis. He drove in their run with a ground out in the 4th inning.
Alvin Davis now the team leader, club franchise leader as far as most hits in a career. Bruce Botke had the most hits for Seattle Mariners, 700, but Alvin Davis surpassed that just this past week. He's probably going to get a lot more than that. He's a young man. Probably will spend a lot of years here in Seattle.
Frank Howard said a little while ago in making up their lineup, pitches high. The last 2 weeks they just haven't been able to find anybody hot to hit behind Davis to take a little bit of the pressure off him, because he hasn't been getting that many good pitches. He was hot, but he was the only hot hitter in their lineup, and he just wasn't getting any good pitches. They were pitching around him all the time. Well, it's 2-0 now. Falboni is the man behind him in the lineup tonight. Sixth inning, 2-1, Oakland leading, and they got those 2 runs quickly in the first inning. Homers by Henderson and Canseco back-to-back. Staying away from Davis, he has gone to 3 balls and no strikes. Well, they go for that 3-0.
They figure if they don't have anybody to hit behind him, if he gets 3-0, figure they're coming in with a fastball, let him swing. He has such a good eye. It's tough for him to, tough for you to try to get him to chase a bad pitch. And last year was the first year in his career that he's had more strikeouts and walks in a season.
Cole's driven back into first, but as you can see, he went right back out there to that wide lead. He walked him. Now the runners at first and second, and Steve Balboni is up. Well, Stewart tonight has walked 4, struck out 4, and one of his strikeouts was Balboni. He got him with a breaking ball in the 4th inning. Got the big guy to hit into a double play in the 2nd inning. This is the kind of hitter who can go up there and strike out 2 or 3 times in a game and then kill you with 1 swing, as he did last night. Curve strike call. Another thing Howard was telling me about Balboni, I asked him about Balboni holding the bat where he does. He doesn't put it out over the plate at all. He holds it right up against his body. Frank said he tried to talk him out of that when he came over here. Balboni said he's just not comfortable holding the bat out any. He just got it, look at there, right against his shoulder. Breaking ball, strike 2. Now, whereas last night the A's were striking this guy out on high fastballs, tonight Dave's been giving him breaking balls. Isn't it interesting the way? Yeah, you have scouting reports.
Tony La Russa said the reason they try to throw him high fastballs is the way he holds his bat, that he handles the pitch down very well. The good fastball down. So you try to get the fastball by him by throwing it up above his waist, and he'll chase it. But a good breaking ball like Dave Serta's throwing, you get him out that way too.
Popped it up foul back here. He is 0-2 on Balboni and went right after him, as Ray was talking about a while ago. Boy, in batting practice, this guy hits a lot of balls up into the seats in this ballpark. He is awesome to watch hit. He struck him out. Dave Stewart has 2 out now, but Scott Bradley, the catcher, comes up, and as Ray mentioned, Bradley's a guy who has had great success against Dave in the past. He's lined out hard to left and singled tonight.
Talk about Balboni hitting home runs during batting practice. Well, a lot of times you figure a guy knows he's going to get a nice, easy fastball he can put on a show, but you think about how many times Steve Balboni has struck out. Tony La Russa going on to talk to Dave Stewart, nobody up in the bullpen. I'm sure just to talk about Bradley, but a lot of times it'd be a lot better instead of hitting a lot of long home runs on just mediocre fastballs. Get some breaking balls, get some pitches that you try to work on something. And that's what I think Mark McGuire does a very good job at batting practice. He'll work on certain things. Jose Canseco works on certain things, but yet they can get in that groove, try to hit some long home runs to thrill the fans. Batting practice is a time you want to get ready for the ball game, and one of the things, just try to work on something.
Well, the conference is over on how they're going to pitch to Scott Bradley with runners at first and second and 2 down and a 2-1 lead. Dave just lets a little air out there. Hey, tailed off. I don't know if that's a fork ball or a fastball that moved.
I think that's his fork ball, and he has not, I don't think, thrown as many fork balls lately. It's been more curve balls and fastballs, and perfect time to come back with the fork ball, especially to the left-handed hitter.
Just missed. It's 1-1. They're definitely trying to keep it outside on him. And I tell you, Mike Gallego, the A's shortstop, is playing over towards second base, playing this guy as a pull hitter. Of course, you got to do a little bit to keep that runner at second close too. Missed outside again. It's 2-1.
You look at positioning of infielders and outfielders. The outfield playing him to hit the ball to left field. The infielders playing him to pull, and figure if he's going to hit the ball on the ground, he's going to pull it. If he hits it in the air, he probably will hit it to the left side.
He had a good cut at that pitch. Dave came right in there on a 2-1 count, and gone a 2-2. Stu had to get Quinones on a pop-up and Reynolds on a little semi-line drive to short to keep that 2-1 lead in the 5th inning. And now he's working in the 6th inning with that 2-1 lead, and Scott Bradley is up there with a 2-2 count. 2 runners on base. Van Hopp. Hubbard keeps it in front of him. Throws to first and gets him. Oh, that's a good play. What made it good was the throw. He had to pick that up and throw while going to his left, and he put something on it and got a fast runner. Still 2-1 Oakland.
He pulled one at Glenn Hubbard. Hubbard got in front of it, did a tremendous job in knocking the ball down and recovering, and made an excellent play to Mark McGuire to get out Scott Bradley to end that last inning.
Hey, the Oakland A's Community Baseball Card and Memorabilia Show featuring Mark McGuire and Jose Canseco along with all the A's is Saturday and Sunday, August 13th and 14th from 10 to 7 p.m. in the Coliseum Exhibit Hall. Admission just $2 a day or free with a reserve game ticket. A's players will appear for 1 hour following the ball game August 13th and August 14th. The A's play the Angels. Ought to be a good game, and that memorabilia show will be a good one also. It's the top of the 7th inning. Mike Moore working on a 5-hitter, pitching to Ron Hasse, missing outside, ball 1. Ron has struck out and grounded out tonight in 2 trips up as the DH. Moore letting up, misses 2-0.
I'd be complaining too, Mike. That's a pretty good pitch right there.
There's the count. Hasse's on to start the 7th for the Athletics. And that brings up Terry Steinbach, who's hitting in tough luck tonight. He's hit 2 balls hard to the outfield.
See, the Mariners have their books of charts as well.
See Billy Connors there giving a set of signs to the catcher, probably calling the pitches here. What do you think, Ray, in the 7th inning? Steinbach bunt here. They're not looking for it from third base. They're playing even with the bag back there. Ball 1.
I think if they were going to try to bunt, probably would put a pinch runner in for Ron Hasse at first base.
Thinking the same thing a minute ago. 7th inning, here we are, and he's still out there running. And Terry's had some pretty good hacks at that ball up there tonight.
Figure it is still early. You wouldn't want to take Ron out of this ball game. Figure he's going to get another bat.
Fouled it off.
Stanley's going to have to put that protective shield back on his leg. He's fouling an awful lot of pitches down near his shins. As Mike Jackson up again. Was up last night, coming in to pitch the 10th inning, picked up the win.
He's up about 5 or 6 times during that game last night before he got in. The A's got 2 runs quickly. First inning homers by Henderson and Canseco, and turned off the run-making machine. Steiny really holds his ground in there on those inside pitches. He's almost like Don Baylor.
Well, he looks to go to right field, yet if he gets a pitch that he can turn on, he'll just naturally will turn on it quickly. It is tough to get him off the plate.
Now Steinbach wants to talk to Lefevre. You don't know what the sign is for sure? You go down and check. Jimmy was giving him the sign at the same time he was talking. This is what I gave you right here. Two balls and one strike, nobody out. 7th inning. Little loop right over first. It's a base hit. Fosse had to hold on, so as far as he can get is second base. Boy, howdy. I guess there's a little justice in this game. Now they will have a pinch runner for Fosse. Got him down to second, so Stan Javier is going to go in and run for him.
Third baseman, number 2, Tony.
When you talk about he won't move off the inside, well, he got jammed, but very fortunate that Alvin Davis holding Ron Fosse at first base. Otherwise, this ball is caught, but that's a perfectly placed ball. And you figure on the turf, the runner might even be able to go to third base, but Fosse had to hold up to make sure that ball was not caught before he took off to second base. Stan Javier in to run for him, and now you might see some bunting, some things going on with the ball club.
I wouldn't be surprised. Phillips has struck out twice tonight. The A's have not been the best at moving runners over in these situations, but they haven't had Phillips up there all that many times either. He's a pretty good bunter ordinarily. Javier looking around to see where the outfielders are, and now creeps off for a lead at second base. Tony swinging away, fouled it off. Many times La Russa will give that batter one swing on his own. I'll give you one chance and then I'll take over. See if he does that here. Tough on a runner at second base in this bunt situation, because if the batter squares around the bunt, you got a real good jump off there and he misses it, you've had it. Toledo, he called him out at third base. That's going to bring Tony La Russa out. I can't believe that call. Here comes Tony.
Well, you would think this is a good bunt, but bunted at third base. Moore coming off the mound. Very surprised he even took the chance to go to third base. And there he is safe. That's the hand getting in. Remigan right there to look at it, but to me, man was safe as his hand will get in ahead of the tag, or ahead of the throw. His hand is already on the bag as Presley catches the ball. Another shot at it. You see Stan underneath Presley right there. The ball has not reached yet his hand. You see the dust already flying past the bag.
Oh, you wonder how umpires could miss that play being that close to it. You're looking at something, the glove or something, rather than the hand coming in there to miss one like that.
The second baseman, number 17, Glenn.
So the A's have one out in runners first and second, and Glenn Hubbard is the batter.
Figure where Remigan was standing, he was looking directly down the third base line. So in essence, he could not necessarily see where the ball was coming into the fielder's glove. The fact that Presley was stretching like a first baseman gave the impression that he'd already caught the ball before Stanley got to the bag. Positioning by the umpires is so important, so critical. In this particular case, instead of bases loaded, nobody out, first and second and one out.
Hubbard foul, and he didn't foul it. So now the A's have runners at second and third after all. Bradley just flat missed the ball. Let's pause quickly for station identification on the Oakland A's television network. Well, the passed ball has moved runners to second and third and brought the Mariner infield in. Now, this is what the A's were trying to get with the bunt. That's strike 2 to Hubbard. A's in a position now where a fly ball to the outfield, but deep at all, should score a run. And with the infield pulled in, you have a little better chance of hitting it through there. Hubbard's got to make some contact here with 2 strikes on him. Of course, the play at third took an out away with which to play 2 when they choose to go that way, and if they didn't get him, you got no outs. Hubb takes it outside. 2-1 Oakland leading. They had the bases loaded and went out in the 3rd inning, didn't score. They've got runners at 2nd and 3rd and went out here in the 7th. It's that case again of getting 2 strikes on a batter very quickly.
Bradley had to backhand that ball, and that's a dangerous play with a runner at third base when you have to backhand instead of moving your body to be able to catch the ball in front of you with the palm of the glove pointing towards the pitcher or up.
And 3-2. This is what Moore's done a few times tonight. 2 strikes on a batter, ended up going 3-2 on him. Reynolds, the second baseman, in to talk to Mike Moore. Maybe going to find out where you're going to pitch this guy right now.
Well, the way he's been throwing the breaking ball, I would think he'd come back with another slider with first base open and take the chance with the bases loaded. Only because of the way he has thrown the last 3 pitches.
He did, and he struck him out. Boy, what a big strikeout that was. That is his 6th of the game.
Just a good hard slider. Ben Hubbard had taken a couple of them, but hey, when you have not had as very many at bats, and Hubbard is not, as Mike Gallego has been playing the majority of time at second base, so you get in that situation, it's not like you've been out there and you've been playing every day, so not an easy job to do.
Gallego struck out twice tonight. He's about due for a base hit right here. He didn't get it. He hit it hard enough, but right straight at the right fielder, Buhner. Oh, baby. These Mariners have dodged some bullets tonight, haven't they? And the A's still lead it, but only 2-1.
There's Jay Alvis, and Jay would like to pass along a happy birthday wish to his wife Doreen back in the Bay Area. Doreen Alvis' birthday, and Jay is very happy. Wake up, Jay. Doreen Alvis' birthday.
Here's Jay Buhner now against Dave Stewart in the 7th inning. It's a breaking ball outside, ball 1. Yeah, Doreen's a great help to all of us out of that public relations office for the Athletics. Gallego throws him out. That ball almost took a dirty hop on him there.
That big guy can get down the line, too.
Third baseman, number 17.
Scores this afternoon. Boston winning their 19th in a row at home, 3-2 over the Milwaukee Brewers. 9th inning single. Minnesota in 7 innings defeated Cleveland 4-2, rain shortened game. California 15-14 over the Chicago White Sox this afternoon. New York 3-1 over Toronto. Detroit 3-0 over the Texas Rangers at Tiger Stadium. And Kansas City defeated Baltimore 8-7 at Baltimore.
Jim Presley after the first pitch, strike 1. Seems like every game that Dave Stewart gets involved in is a pitcher's battle. He opened the season 8 wins and no losses. And in his 14 starts since that time, he has 4 wins and 10 losses. But he hasn't pitched that badly at all. Did he swing? Yes, he did, said Darrell Cousins, the first base umpire. And it's 1-2. In the 10 losses that Dave Stewart has, the A's have scored a total of 16 runs. That's just a little bit over a run a game. Don't care how well you pitch. It takes more than that to win, usually. Breaking ball fouled off. Bill Plummer, the third base coach.
I'll tell you, if there's one pitcher you don't score a lot of runs for, it's someone who has an earned run average of just 2.40 in those 10 losses, because Stu will keep your club in the ball game, and as he's looking right now, he hopes 2-1 is going to be enough for tonight.
And they got Presley on a high Hartman. That is his 6th strikeout.
Stu's had a good fastball tonight. He's just thrown a curveball, and here he throws a high fastball, a ball, but again, a pitch that's very tough to lay off by the hitters. It's almost a rising fastball. They say that's next to impossible to have that effect, but at least when you're hitting, that's what it looks like.
Quinones takes high, ball 1. If anything, Dave's throwing harder now than he was the first inning. Quinones fouls it back. I don't know why, but Dave Stewart says he never eats on the day of a game before he pitches. All day.
He has not eaten since last night.
Man, he's got to be mean.
That's what he does. I would think.
Great breaking pitch, strike call.
I don't know if too many players can do that.
I don't either.
Usually, so you're so pumped up after a ball game, it's tough to get anything to eat, but I guess he kind of changes his pattern around.
Hits the bat on the shoulder. Count remains 1 ball, 2 strikes. Well, he's one of the best conditioned athletes I think I've ever known in any sport. There is a wide sweeping curveball that left Quinones with a bat on his shoulder. That's his biggest breaking ball of the night. That thing broke a half a foot or more. So his 7th strikeout sends us into the 8th inning at a 2-1 lead for Oakland. Seattle, the A's and the Mariners at 1:30 on these same stations. Then at Chicago on Tuesday night and Wednesday nights, both 5:30 ball games back into the Bay Area and the West Coast. And then, of course, our next game after that will be August 13th when the A's play the Angels at home in Oakland. Well, we've got a new pitcher, Ray.
Well, Mike Jackson came in last night, picked up his 6th win, pitching the 10th inning. Actually gave up the hit to Ron Hassey to put the A's ahead. Of course, the Mariners came back to win the ball game in the bottom of the 10th inning. Hard-throwing right-hander, good breaking ball, as last night seeing a lot of breaking balls, especially to the right-handers.
Belonia fakes a bunt, takes a strike. Interesting statistic on this guy is that he has finished 19 games for Seattle, but has only 2 saves. They haven't been ahead of that many games for him to get saves. Belonia fouls it off, strike 2. Little Louie's had 2 hits tonight. It'll be Belonia, Henderson, and Canseco in the 8th inning against Jackson. Mike Moore pitched 7 innings, gave up 2 runs and 6 hits. Walked 4, struck out 6. 2 runs he gave up first inning on home runs. And nothing after that. He had to get out of 3 jams, and he did.
The way Jackson comes at you looks almost like Lee Smith from the Boston Red Sox and the Chicago Cubs, now with the Red Sox. Big guy, just throws everything at you.
Belonia fouls it off into the 3rd deck of this big dome stadium, which Seems like a great injustice to fans to have to sit indoors in the kind of weather they're having up here right now, but more than not, during the summertime, it's very cold and so forth. There are some lonesome polecats here. That's a tough seat to see anything out of right up there. We have 19,787 here tonight. That's about 5,000 more than last night. It's outside. Or they had something going on in downtown Seattle here today that was really an extravaganza. They had a 3-on-3 basketball in the streets tournament today and had 500 teams. 3-on-3 games at 50 courts set up downtown. Polonia wraps one into right field. The little guy can pull or he can push or do whatever. He is just a player. Pounds those hands together with his third hit of the night.
Well, you indicated before with Moore pitching how the outfield was set up with Cotto over in left center, a big gap in right center, and you wonder why Moore threw him a changeup that he fouled off, and then he finally gets a hit. He got a hit last time, but this time he gets an off-speed pitch that he pulls. So why set up the defense that way? But figure if you're going to set up a defense, you pitch him the hard stuff away, let him hit the ball in left field where you have the outfielder's position.
Amazing to see him open up that time and have to go down after that ball, extend his arms down almost at the ground. Here's Dave Henderson up now. He's had 2 hits tonight, a homer and a double. Takes high, ball 1. His homer came in the first inning, his 14th of the year, and he doubled in the third. The homer was to right field, the double was to left. And they're playing him to hit the ball to right and right center. You see Polonia up in the corner. He got picked off in the first inning by Mike Moore.
Last night when Jackson came in, one thing that he did was not stop very much when he came down in the set position. Of course, he came in with nobody on base tonight, and he got in that habit perhaps of just not stopping very much without the runner at first base.
Yeah, I see when he was pitching on that stretch position when he first came in here, he was just bumping. And I was thinking to myself, if there's a man on, he's got to change that drastically. Two balls and no strikes on Dave Henderson. The A's lead it only 2-1. Another nail biter here.
Billy Connor's going out to talk to his pitcher.
They don't have anybody throwing in the bullpen, so this is just a little strategy session here, or maybe he has seen something. Ray, good news tonight for A's fans that Steve Olivares is going to be pitching on Tuesday in Chicago unless something happens between now and then.
Well, he threw batting practice in Anaheim a couple days ago, and he threw again yesterday here in Seattle to kind of tune up for that start Tuesday. Of course, everything pending as far as how he would feel after he pitched batting practice, and I had him on the pregame show after he actually threw on Monday. I guess it was Monday or Tuesday. And I said, how do you feel today? And he says, I have a good hurt. I have good soreness. And I said, what does that mean? He said, it's just typical. It's not a hurting feeling. It's just a good soreness that you get after pitching. It's typical. So he's looking forward to pitching on Tuesday in front of a lot of friends and family growing up in that area.
Henderson takes a breaking ball on a 2-0 count for a strike. Yeah, Steve was telling me before the game, he said, I'm going to follow Todd Burns, my hero. Imagine the White Sox tonight scored 14 runs today and lost. 2-1 count. Polonia's got a good lead, and he's going. Curveball, throw to second base. He's in there. And they call the strike on Dave Henderson, and he's arguing with the plate umpire about that call.
Well, Scott Bradley with an excellent release, a quick release. Dave Henderson, a curveball, and Bradley coming out very quickly, getting rid of the ball. Louis Polonia with a feet-first slide, getting in the to the bag before the tag was able to be applied. A lot of times you see the runner slide head first, but I think that time it helped Lewis by sliding feet first. As it turned out, Harold Reynolds dropped the ball anyway.
7 steals for Polonia out of 12 tries since coming up to the A's, and that could be a big one right there if Henderson can get him over. You just get the feeling that, and you've had it since the first inning, the A's are going to need a little bit of insurance here. They've had several opportunities. Bases loaded, one out in the third, didn't score. Runners second and third, one out in the seventh, didn't score. Boy, Jackson's taking a long time getting that sign from his catcher.
Well, Scott Bradley going through a series of signs now with the runner at second base, and Jackson will not add or subtract like Dave Stewart does to change the sign, so Bradley has to continue to go through the sequence until Jackson gets the pitch that he wants to throw.
Oh, he got him. Heck of a pitch right there, a breaking ball, and Henderson flinched on it. And once again, there's that case where the A's don't move the man over. Jose Canseco has walked twice tonight and homered. Odd setup for Canseco. Their right fielder is playing very close to the right field line and very deep. Their center fielder is shallow and just a little left of center. Strike called, says Greg Fosse, the plate umpire. Well, that's such a big buoy of your confidence. If you can have a runner at second base, nobody out, and strike that guy out and not move him over. One ball, one strike on Jose Canseco. The A's started at the top of their batting order here in the eighth inning, and the Mariners are going to do exactly the same thing. They'll be right at the top of their batting order to start the eighth. Curveball. Canseco didn't get a swing at strike two. One ball, two strikes. Ray, this guy's got good stuff. He throws very hard, and he's thrown two great sliders here.
When you have a good fastball that he has thrown, then you come in with a good hard breaking ball. Actually, he threw Hindu a couple of breaking balls, big curveballs, whereas that one to Canseco, the good hard slider. Basically throws everything hard.
Boy, Jose's spread out now. He's got those feet wide apart. It's just going to be an arm swing right here. Hit it to the right side, but not through. No, there are two down with the runner at third base, and Mark McGuire comes up for the fourth time tonight. Mark has had one of those unfortunate evenings, hitting into two double plays. So Polonia is at third with two outs. There's a base hit to center field and a big run for the A's. Mark McGuire got that big bat out there that time and had plenty of muscle behind it to rip it right up the middle.
Well, after he had thrown Jose Canseco a fastball inside to get ahead with a strike, looked like he just threw Mark McGuire a fastball right down the middle of the plate. Take a look at it yourself. There's just your basic fastball right down the heart of the plate, low. And Mark McGuire, good swing on the ball. It couldn't have come at a more perfect time.
So that makes it a 3-1 ball game. And here's Javier batting for the first time in the game. Hits one hard to the shortstop. Quinones flips it over to the second baseman. Reynolds almost threw it away. But Reynolds hauled it in, and that retires the side. So we go to the last half of the eighth inning. It's a 3-1 Oakland lead. Mark this date down. It's August 14th. It'll be a Sunday game. And the A's play the California Angels. Be an attraction enough in itself. But the first 25,000 fans are going to take home a Surf baseball card collectibles book, just like the one you see right there. Compliments Surf laundry detergent. Come to the A's and Angels game Sunday, August 14th, and get a baseball card book. It's the top of the order, and here's Harold Reynolds. Dave Stewart has allowed only 3 hits tonight. Starts him off with a strike. Dave has walked 4, struck out 7 in the game. With breaking ball. 1-1. Little looper on the infield. That's going to be Tony Phillips. 1 out.
Center fielder, number 28.
Boy, that extra run the A's got changed a lot of things. Probably changed the way Dave is thinking on the mound. He doesn't now feel that he has to throw every pitch perfect, I guess, Ray.
Well, I think he's shown in the last inning that a killer instinct when you get down to the last part of the ball game. You mentioned that he seemed to be throwing a little bit harder. I think he is. And I think that's just the competitiveness that Dave Stewart has, and when it gets down to the point in the ball game where he knows he has to put a little bit extra effort, he, as a well-conditioned athlete, can continue to do that.
Henry Cotto taking all the way, watches the breaking ball go by too far outside. It's ball 1.
I think the fact that he only threw 100 pitches in his last start Monday night, even though it's a complete ball game, will help him tonight, as he has accustomed to throwing in the neighborhood sometimes 130 to 150 pitches a ball game.
Cotto fouled that one back just under us. Situated on about the 3rd deck here. There's some of the guys in the private box up here.
Chuck Armstrong, president of the Seattle Mariners. It definitely will give the ball back. Use it in batting practice tomorrow.
Cotto fouls it off into the stand. Well, you wonder what Armstrong's position is going to be with Woody Woodward coming in.
Well, Arjus seems to, because what was in the papers, that he would handle the contracts, the high-priced players, and figured they need somebody to continue to do that. Of course, I guess you never know. The man's reporting from Los Angeles down in Southern California where he lives, the owner of this ball club. A lot of things have to be done via the newspaper and reports from him.
Here's a breaking ball. Goodbye, Cotto. Dave Stewart left him up there.
Well, he had some good breaking balls to Harold Reynolds and got him out with a fastball inside, and it comes back to Cotto. Pretty good breaking ball right there. Not necessarily the sharp breaker, but yet it fooled Cotto to the point that he couldn't swing the bat.
Yeah, the one he struck out Quinones on was a big breaking pitch. Here's Darnell Coles now with 2 down in the 8th inning. As Stu has struck out 3 of the last 4 batters. Now has 8 Ks for the game. Bullet, strike 1. A big story up here today regarding the Mariners was on the front page of the paper, not the sports page, and that is the owner announced that he would not exercise the option that the Mariners had as of August 1st to leave the Kingdom. He said they're going to stay here. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Breaking ball again, and Stu kind of lost that pitch during the middle innings. All of a sudden, he's found it again. And at a great time, I might add. There it is again. Boy, oh boy, did he find it or not?
Took a little off of that one.
That's 9 strikeouts for Stewart, 4 out of the last 5. Talk about a mean look on his face. Well, that's 8 innings of work, and he leads 3-1. It's Sunday, August 7th, when the A's are giving away to the kids a white Athletics t-shirt. Compliments the A's and Ortega Chili. August 7th, the A's play the same Seattle Mariners. The artwork you saw right there on the screen is the artwork that'll be on the front of the t-shirt. Terry Steinbach takes a breaking ball strike from Jackson. Steinbach tonight, 1 hit, 3 at-bats. There's another curveball, and it's low, 1-1. Three breaking balls in a row. This one misses. Steinbach hits one right back up the middle. His second hit. Well, he threw three breaking balls and said, well, I better try to throw a fastball by him.
And the biggest thing for Jackson with his fastball is he does not have good location, or at least he has not. He did not have it with Mark McGuire. And that pitch to Terry Steinbach. And that's what a hard thrower. He doesn't necessarily get hitters out throwing hard. It's the location.
Well, they had a couple of guys up in the bullpen, and on that base hit, they just quit. You'd think that's when somebody jump up in a hurry. Here's Tony Phillips. He struck out twice and bunted into a force out at third base. Now he asked for time. Jackson taking a little bit too much time. Pops it up. Shallow left field. Quinones, the shortstop, is the man who's making the play on it.
Second baseman, number 17.
Here's Glenn Hubbard. Hubbard in as the second baseman tonight. Skied to center, walked, and struck out. Mariners in the ninth inning will have their fourth, fifth, and sixth hitters up. Davis, Balboni, and Bradley. Mariners all night long have been anticipating that the A's are going to be either running or hit and running or something of that nature, and they have pitched out 3 times. All 3 times they've guessed wrong. The one time the A's did run, they didn't pitch out and still got the runner at second base. Good slider, strike call. Tomorrow afternoon at 1:30, right back here on the A's Television Network, Storm Davis will pitch for Oakland. Scott Bankhead for Seattle. Reynolds is coming in. He may be going to say, be sure and stop now, because that was pretty close to not stopping right there.
As we said before, I think sometimes a relief pitcher coming in out of the bullpen, a lot of times when he pitches out of the stretch with nobody on base, you have a tendency to get in a bad habit of not stopping, and sometimes that will carry over when you do get the runners on base.
Well, he brings that ball down so slowly. Reminds me of Luis Tiant, only he used to bounce it as he came down.
Louis would have had 1,000 balks the way he did that by now.
My goodness. Ellie yelled at him about balking in the World Series he pitched at. I think called one on it. Breaking ball hit to short. They've got one, but they handcuffed the second baseman, and he didn't have a chance. Steinbach was right in on Reynolds. Quinones whipped that ball so hard that Reynolds couldn't handle it.
I think that time it would have been a little bit better for Quinones to kind of flip the ball underneath. But he fired the ball, and Reynolds almost just could not hold on to the ball, even make the turn. And by the time he did, Terry Steinbach on top of him. Normally you like to plan a little timing to go across the bag, get out of the way of the runner, but boy, Quinones tied him up.
Poor Gallego ripped a line drive to right field. It was caught in the 7th inning. Runners at second and third at the time. Buhner made a running catch coming in. He was playing him shallow anyway. One ball, no strikes. 9th inning, A's lead 3-1. They know they've got to win tonight to keep their lead at 5.5, because the Twins won today. There goes Hubbard. Pitch outside. They don't have a chance to get him this time. That was a tough pitch for Bradley to handle and throw anybody out on. It was a breaking ball way outside and low.
I think Mike Jackson, thinking that Glenn Hubbard would not be running, and gave the big leg kick, and Hub just got an excellent jump. You mentioned a slider away. He would have had the base stolen anyway. That's where you call it just stealing on the pitcher.
That's so far outside, guy, you couldn't even swing at it to protect the runner. So Hub's at second base now. 2 down, and Gallego up. Breaking ball hangs high. It's 3-0. If he loses Gallego, it'll be Polonia coming up again. Talking to Mike tonight before the game about that play he made a great play on last night, going back to his right. And he had gone to his left. He got the pitch, and he said, I cheated a little too much and almost got caught. He saw the sign and the location the catcher had asked for. This is fouled away, and the count goes to 3-2. Gave 3 signs then. And it was probably the second one or third one because they were ones. And after the fastball, it was a 4. Ball 4.
Watching the Dodgers and Astros playing this afternoon. Joaquin Andahar pitching for the Astros. Kirk Gibson hit a home run off him in his first at bat. Second time up, Joaquin was looking in to get signs, and they finally just gave the motion as he would, just warming up fastball. He just told him what was coming. Of course, that's Joaquin, and I guess you could say typical Joaquin. He got a base hit to right field, came up limping at first base, had to take him out of the ball game.
Here's Louis Polonia. He's 3 for 4 tonight. That's ball 1. Comes up this time with runners at first and second. He got a single in the 8th inning, stole second, and scored on Mark McGuire's 2-out base hit. Made a 2-1 game, all of a sudden a 3-1 game. This little guy doesn't walk much, does he, Ray?
No, he's up there swinging the bat.
He got a very, very small strike zone, but he widens it out considerably.
The thing is, he can foul off tough pitches, as we've seen him do, until he gets a pitch that he can handle and then drive it. Of course, if you can do that, you don't have to worry about looking for walks.
Uses a very short, thick-handled bat, hollowed out on the end. Takes that one just off the shelf. It's 2-1. And Bradley to Jackson for a little conversation. Dave Stewart's getting a long rest. I don't know if it's one that he'd like to be getting or not.
Well, as pumped up as he is, I'm sure with having the runs on the board, a lead going into the bottom of the 9th inning, it will not take him long to get loose.
Well, he's liable to be facing Henderson with the bases loaded because the count is 3-1 on Polonia now. And they're calling for help. Finally, they are going to start somebody throwing out in the bullpen. They've had a lefty and a righty both up there tonight. He wasn't taking on 3-1, was he?
Well, Jackson right now is just thinking that this is a time to be patient because he's throwing the fastball up and out of the strike zone. He threw one right there. Sometimes you get a little bit too anxious. You want to hit knowing the runners in scoring position.
Well, Hubbard and Gallego will be on the starting blocks now with a 3-2 count. Jackson makes a nice little move back second, but he didn't have either the shortstop or second baseman covering. Nor did he have Herbert going early on that 3-2 count. Polonia fouls it off. Kind of double up his left fist that time and pumped it as if to say, boy, that's the pitch I wanted right there. I don't think there are many he doesn't want. Look at that bat. I'll get back in your picture here in a minute. Foul off another one. There's Tony. You know, Tony told me tonight before the game that last night's game was not one that kept him awake as long as some others have this year, oddly enough. It's one that they thought they had won, but he said that one didn't bother me all that much. Polonia fouls another one away, and I don't know if Jackson or he's going to wear out first.
Well, you have an aggressive hitter. Sometimes you can just keep throwing. You don't necessarily have to throw strikes. You figure Lewis is going to keep swinging at them. He swung at strikes, fouling off 3. Main thing, if you get that pitch, especially the one up, to be able to lay off and get Hindu up there with the bases loaded and 2 runners in scoring position.
Polonia has only walked 5 times. 112 at bats this year. Now it's 6 times and 112 at bats official. And Dave Henderson comes on with the bases loaded. He'll be facing a new pitcher. I have an idea. They got Schooler warming up out of the bullpen, and they're going to bring him in. But what a battle Polonia gave him, and what a game he's had here tonight, Ray. He made a great catch in the first inning or second. Which was it? First inning, I believe. Yeah, first inning on Henry Cotto. And now we're going to have a new pitcher, so that means we're going to step away here for just a little bit and reorganize, and we'll be right back. So shortstop, who's been out in this series, Walt, before the game, got our microphones and looked into the camera and told us this.
Oh, about a couple days ago, I injured my hamstring in California trying to beat out a ground ball. It's kind of a chronic problem I've had since my college days when I had a torn hamstring and got some scar tissue in there now, and every once in a while it'll act up on me, but it's not real serious, just kind of a day-to-day thing, and I think I'll be back in there either maybe tomorrow or Monday, hopefully.
All right, there's our outstanding rookie shortstop, and he does a good job of talking up, doesn't he? He wants to get back in there. Here's Henderson. He could deliver the KO blow right here, and he was after Schooler's first pitch. Strike 1.
Well, Bob Watson was saying they've not seen Schooler pitch. He has just been up. He's converted, I think, 7 save opportunities. He's a hard thrower, sinker, hard slider. That time a sinker that got up above the waist, so not sinking too much.
That one went down, but it's outside. 1-1. The A's lead it 3-1. They've got 3 little guys on the bases right now, and Hubbard, Gallego, and Polonia, and they can all run. Again, a sinker. Too low. Ball 2. Well, that's the thing about those guys that have that pitch. It comes up there looking to back a knee-high fastball, and by the time it gets there and the catcher's mitt, he's picking it up off the ground, and it's tough to lay off that pitch. He let up on it that time and got Henderson out front. That's a good pitch.
Well, they threw the slider. That's a very good pitch considering it's coming in with the bases loaded. You run the count to 2 balls and a strike, and throw a very hard slider that is ball 3, but Dave Henderson looking fastball couldn't hold up on it.
So we got a 2-ball, 2-strike count, bases loaded, and 2 away. away from the catcher, but not far enough for anything to happen. Good block that time by Bradley. And Lefebvre showing everybody that it's time to run. The old merry-go-round pitcher. 3-2 and 2 down. Even the fans start to buzz on this one. So Dave Henderson putting himself together. Mike Schooler on the mound will work with the runners behind him, ready to roll. Dave's putting a freeze on him. Like a guy starting to shoot a free throw, called timeout. Give him a little longer to think about it. Here we go. And Hindu fouls it away. Kept his head down all the way. Just going to make contact here. Yeah, caught it in the cap, didn't he? Yeah, caught it in his cap. That's a Raleigh fingers trick. Well, he used to do it with his cap behind his back.
Even gets a replay.
How many fans get a replay? Well, you do something good on our telecast. Wally's got it. There they go again. Right back up the middle she goes, and Henderson continues to have a great year. 2 more runs come in to score for the A's on Dave Henderson's 3rd hit of the night. Boy, he's tough.
Well, you figure Dave Henderson saw 2 sliders, but this time a fastball that didn't sink very much. You think Schooler comes off the mound in a good position, squaring up to the plate, but a ball got by him. Ball hit very hard from Hindu, but again, thinking up the middle, looking perhaps for the slider to at least be able to hit that slider if you threw it. Got a good fastball and an excellent base hit.
Well, about half the hits in this game tonight or more have been on 3-2 counts. I'll tell you something about it. Here's Jose Canseco, has had 1 hit tonight and 2 official at-bats. It was a dinger. Takes a sinker strike. Dave Henderson will be our pregame guest tomorrow. Ray will be talking with him. I just let Dave tell us about his 3 hits here tonight, a single, double, and homer. In the dirt, Bradley blocks it. One ball, 1 strike, 2 down. The A's got a big insurance run in the 8th inning on a 2-out single by Mark McGuire. And now here in the 9th, they get 2 more big runs on a 2-out single by Dave Henderson. There's a slider. Signs Bradley was giving right there. What, in case the runner breaks from first, Ray?
Yeah. Whether he's going to throw through or not.
There goes the runner. They're just going to let him go. That probably will not even be a stolen base.
They were holding him on at first base, though. They were holding on. This should be a stolen base just because he doesn't throw, I would think.
Nobody covered. I don't know. We'll give him 1.
Should.
Struck him out with a slider. Well, Dave Stewart has something he hasn't had much of, and that's a pretty good lead going into the last half of the 9th inning. And we'll be right back to let you see him try to protect it. There's the score as Alvin Davis is up leading off the last half of the 9th inning for the Mariners against Dave Stewart. And Dave got 2 quick strikes on him. Davis tonight walked a couple of times, got a ground out that drove in the Mariner run in the 4th inning. Drive to right field, hit well. That one's got a chance to go all the way, and there she goes. Kind of a let-up pitch Dave threw. And Alvin Davis cracked it up into the seats in right field, only about 320 feet away, but it's far enough here.
Oh, and how important those insurance runs are. And it could have been perhaps a difference in this last inning, even though Dave Stewart threw Alvin Davis an 0-2 curveball. He fouled off, then took something off a little bit more. Davis weighs so well and pulled it. So Steiny with the pitch down. It looked like it's supposed to be a sinking fastball, but the ball got up about waist high. Didn't sink that much, but just a good picture swing by Alvin Davis.
His 13th home run of the year, and now here's Steve Balboni.
Rick Honeycutt was up at the beginning of the inning. Now Dennis Eckersley starts to throw for the A's in the bullpen.
Balboni pops one up off first base. McGuire over, but it's going to be in the seats and out of play. No balls, 2 strikes on the big designated hitter, who has hit into a double play and struck out twice against Dave Stewart tonight. Didn't swing, said the first base umpire. Dave Stewart trying for his 4th complete game in a row, but more importantly, his 13th win of the season. Balboni got under that one. Henderson has got it all the way. 1 out of the 9th. Here's Scott Bradley, and Stu had to get him with 2 runners on in the 6th inning to retire the side. He got him on a ground ball to Glenn Hubbard that bounced in and out of Hubb's glove. Mark McGuire backs up to take this one, and right there's his pitcher where he's supposed to be to take the toss for the 2nd out.
The right fielder, number 43, Jay Buhner.
Here's Jay Buhner out Seattle.
Well, Stu's just not coming in with a fastball, even though he has a 3-run lead. Still using all of his pitches.
Buhner hits that one very high into center field, and Henderson is giving it a sideward look. He puts it away, and the A's have put away the Mariners. Dave Stewart gets the victory, and we'll be right back. With Dave Stewart, who was just a dogged performer out there.
Well, I think after 3 losses in a row and a 4th complete game in a row, started with tonight 13th win, and to get him some runs on the board in the 1st inning. The 2 home runs by Dave Henderson, Jose Canseco back-to-back in the 1st inning. I think that was a tremendous help for him, but you could see as the game progressed, he started getting a little bit better and better, and that's been one of the quality things about Dave Stewart, that he does get better with each start and as the game progresses.
Well, that's the story. Jose Canseco hits his 28th homer, and Henderson his 14th, and the A's stay 5.5 games in front of Minnesota. And that wraps up A's baseball for tonight. We'll be back on the air tomorrow afternoon at 1:30 from here at the Kingdome. Hope you'll join us for the series wrap-up between the A's and the Mariners. Now for Ray Fosse, this is Monty Moore saying thanks a million for joining us, and so long, everybody. Once again, the final score, the A's win it 5-2.